Meteos returns to the NALCS and makes it to Worlds in his first split, the 4th year in a row that Cloud9 organization has made it to Worlds every year of their existence.
They keep the legacy alive as the second most dominant team in all of North America. Most Worlds appearances, most finals appearances behind TSM.
Incredible for C9. The team has come together in such a strong way throughout this season, and the devastation we saw last week from Jensen is an afterthought. They are elated to be going to Worlds.
Exactly, the elation that he is feeling now. After that, in North America, we'll be sending the same 3 teams as last year, but they look very different.
And how incredible is that? You're looking at this Immortals team who is clearly not in the highest of spirits because they were 33-3 in the regular season, and they will not be able to go to Worlds. The most dominant team from a win percentage perspective in North American LCS history. They have the highest winning percentage of all other teams, yet they finish 4th at the end of it, and they don't get to go to Worlds.
And the semifinalists from last year will not be returning.
Yeah, because Huni and Reignover are now not going to Worlds, that means every single member of the undefeated Fnatic squad last year that made it to semifinals will not be attending Worlds.
An amazing split for both teams. Immortals trying to find that victory coming into this split, and Cloud9 looking to rebuild to get to that victory, and having Reaper come in May has seemed to do wonders for the team.
Absolutely, it's been an absolute joy to watch this team go through everything, like swapping supports out, what's going on. He knew what he was doing the entire time, and now the squad, they hold him in such high praise. And another thing there too, you saw Jensen, that sigh of relief. He's going to Worlds, but also coming into this matchup, both of these teams, like you were saying, look like they could go to Worlds and be teams that would represent North America.
Yeah, and the ability to bounce back as well. Like, they were devastated after that loss. I'd never seen Meteos be as tilted during a series. He played terribly in the last few games against TSM, but he was crushing in a lot of these games against Reignover, the spring split MVP, and also he finished, Reignover was the 3rd place in MVP voting for this split as well. So like the whole Cloud9 team, incredibly well deserved to be able to go to Worlds because they had to earn it. They beat Immortals even in the playoffs, and then they beat them again. So like very clearly, they deserve it.
Yeah, it was not a fluke at all. And they showed that they are your 3rd representative here, that they deserve it, that they put in the hard work, and that honestly, the organization having to rebuild multiple members, new coaching staff, trying things out, it has paid off for them.
And now they're ready. They already feel behind. Getting on a plane tonight to go over, join TSM in the boot camp, and try to see what they can do at World. It's going to be an amazing task for them, for all the NA teams to undertake here. Yeah. And it's been a pleasure watching them all place for the seeding at Worlds. Now for the player perspective on today's match and the road to Worlds, let's head down to Dom for an interview with C9 Support.
Thanks, guys. I am joined by Smoothie. First of all, congratulations on making it to Worlds. How does it feel to be able to follow up on the promise you made in Toronto?
It feels really good. I intended to keep that promise, and I don't know, it worked out.
Yeah, it certainly did. So obviously, as the rookie on Cloud9, making it to Worlds so quickly, what does this win mean for you as a player?
I mean, I've been playing for a long time, and it just feels really good. I feel like I've at least met expectations for my team because they've all been to Worlds before, and they've all been really good in the past. And this is my first time I can actually shine. So it feels really good to meet their expectations.
Yeah, well, certainly a great showing. And speaking of expectations, now you've made it into Worlds. Looking ahead, is there anyone you're excited to play against?
I mean, obviously the Korean teams and like SKT, Rocks Tigers, and just RNG. I think a lot of their bot lanes are really, really good, and I just want to learn from them.
All right, well, we're looking forward to see that performance in just a few weeks. But Smoothie, again, congratulations on the victory. Cloud9 to Worlds, everyone. We're going to send it over to the analysts to break that series down. And don't go anywhere, because we've also got a few words with a few more.
Thank you very much, Dom. That's right. We will have another opportunity to interview some other members of Cloud9 who just qualified as the 3rd seed, as I lose the paper, as the 3rd seed to the World Championships for NA here in 3-1 fashion over Immortals. In this 3rd game, right back to where they were at the first 2 games of this series, responding in kind to that Yasuo pick in the top line. top lane rather, the Echo much more impactful.
Right, they just put, Impact back in a situation where he's able to make plays. It's not as much of a hang on to lane phase farm and then, follow with an ult. He can actually take over, and once he had a couple advantages, he started getting the solo kills back onto Huni.
And then make sure they have a solid bottom lane. You have Lucian Braum able to dominate the laning
Much
phase, and
stronger.
it's so much easier to transition. And I think that they went into this draft, Cloud9, knowing that the Yasuo pick was a big possibility. And by taking the Braum and the Lucian, those are the two toughest AD carries for a Yasuo to deal with, because Lucian's so difficult to actually get on, the repositioning from his dash, and then Braum on top of everything. A Yasuo that is in melee range, as soon as Braum attacks you, you're probably going to die.
Same with Rek'Sai too, just unburrow as soon as he tries to dash around you.
I want to take a look at our first clip here. It's going to come 14 minutes into the game. One that we thought looked to be going in Immortals' favor here, but ultimately Cloud9 will come out ahead 3-1.
I mean, it's this kind of thing where Immortals isn't quite all on the same page. Adrian gets a little far of the rest of his team. Huni's on the backside dealing with Sneaky, and then this ultimate doesn't actually finish channeling onto anyone. If that managed to keep the rest of Immortals lineup healthy, they probably can win this fight, but then, like we said, it's two just throwing in. Right as Huni goes out, Turtle flashes in, they're able to pick up a kill onto him and just kind of open the game up.
And from that point onwards, it was just Cloud9 taking over the entire game. In the early stages, we were a little bit worried. Maybe it could go to game 5. Immortals was getting good advantages in the laning phase, particularly topside, about almost a 20 CS lead, and the matchup didn't look that well. But after that point, I think he got double buffs off that point. It's just game over.
Yeah, we had double buffs at the end of that fight, living with a sliver of health.
Goes up, kills Huni right after, basically.
That was kind of the big thing there as well, having the opportunity to get that solo kill in the top lane because of a bit of an overextension by Huni with no help there, meant that Impact had full control of that lane from that point onward. Was able to harass pretty well as well with that Ocean Drake, allowing him the opportunity to regen in lane between harassment. I want to jump now ahead to 18 minutes in the game, 3-0 for Cloud9 rather, around the red buff, and this kind of seals the deal. Funnily enough, at only 18 minutes in the game.
And this is going to come in with a really nice flash ultimate here. The wind wall's not going to be able to stop it, and once that two-man stun hits, it's already just a massacre for Cloud9. Meteos is going to be able to burrow over here, get a nice little smite over to get extra healthy, and then Huni's just going to be left with dying here with the Braum. As soon as he comes in, you get tagged with the Q, you're dead. You get stunned. There's no actual way for the Yasuo to get out of it, so maybe they tunneled a little bit too much in maintaining that pick.
Right, and there were a couple things they could have maybe done better too, was just with the Taric, maybe the flash exhaust into his ult could have kept someone alive. He just came walking around the backside, and the fight was over by the time he finally got in. The ult only hits him and the Huni, who's not really
Well, it started out with Huni
engage.
using the ultimate right onto Meteos on the edge, which is not going to net anything, and that just diminishes the actual presence that you have in a team fight. It completely counteracts the idea of Gragas Yasuo, right? You want to use that cast with the Yasuo to get a nice ultimate off, as opposed to just on one guy on the side that's clearly going to be able to escape.
Well, with the series complete, we can highlight the player who went the extra mile to earn our Player of the Series award. It's going once again to Impact. What is there to say other than this guy has been a monster all playoffs long and didn't disappoint today? 2 massive performances on Gnar, solo kills left and right, and a great showing on Echo in Game 4, showing once again that he's a force to be reckoned with, returning to form as he was in Season 3 as a world champion, getting his opportunity as well to return to that world championship, but this time with a new roster. The question will be, how can Cloud9 perform? Will they perform at Worlds as one might expect a former world champion to do? We're going to get an opportunity to look a little bit more at the highlights, but here I have a couple victorious Cloud9 members in Meteos and Impact, as well as a translation help here as well. So, gentlemen, we've qualified for Worlds. Impact, my first question is to you. This is the first time you're qualifying for Worlds since you won the World Championship in Season 3. What does it mean to have another opportunity to make a run for the title of Best in the World?
자, 이제 시즌 3에서 승리를 한 이후에 처음으로 롤드컵을 가진 거잖아. 이제 북미에서 진출을 하게 됐는데 이게 기회가 너한테 어떤 건지, 어떤 의미가 있는지, 그리고 다시 도전을 하는데 어떤 정신을 가지고 들어간지.
저를 일단 제가 그 전에 안 좋은 모습 시즌 4, 5 때 안 좋은 모습 보여줬단 말이에요. 그러다가 이제 이 시즌 6 와가지고 좋은 팀원들 만나서 좋은 모습을 보여주게 됐는데 이제 제 가치를 한 번 더, 제가 그 전에 인터뷰 계속 말했단 말이에요. 제 가치를 증명해야 된다고. 이번에 증명할게요. 진짜 온 것 같아요.
So season 4 and 5, I have been slumping a little bit. I wasn't able to prove myself that much. But season 6 now, I have great teammates and a great environment to show off my skill sets, and I have recovered my form as well. And I've said multiple times in interviews that this is a chance for me to really display my worth, and I think I have given been given the opportunity to do so.
Now, one of those team members is standing right next to you in Meteos. Meteos, very similarly, you took a step away from competitive League of Legends, and here you are in your first year back on the, the LCS stage, re-qualifying for Worlds, having your next shot at making a run for the championship. What does it mean for you individually in your journey as a player to re-qualify for Worlds?
It means a lot to me. I think this is the first year where it feels like I really deserve the world spot. Before it felt like I was kind of along with the ride. Cloud9 was always just ahead of North America, but this season it felt like I really had to sort of like rediscover how to jungle. I was being punished for things I was never punished for. I had to learn a lot. I took some steps backwards to move forwards, but it means a lot finally qualifying. It feels like I worked really hard for it, and it's a nice feeling.
Let's talk about that journey then for you as an individual. We have asked you about that before, and you have had some, high praise for the organization that's around you. But I want to ask specifically, given the coaching staff, not just Reaper, but Robin here as well, what was it for you returning to the LCS? What was your major change, the major switch that kind of catalyzed your growth as a player this year specifically?
I think that the major thing this year was just that I was able to realize the things I was doing wrong. Before, everyone would tell me I'm good. I thought I was good, but then coming back, I realized I'm not that good. And so I guess it's just some humility, just realizing there's so much I have to learn. Even now, I still feel like I have so much more to learn about jungling, and I'm enjoying it.
All right, now with that, you've also had high praise for Impact in the top lane and the fact that playing with him is a treat. You hear things such as top die, and there it is, a solo kill. So Impact, I've got to ask you, when it comes to being on this team, I want to hear the reverse. What is it like to play with players like Meteos, Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie?
메테오스랑 이제 다른 팀원들이 너에 대한 칭찬을 굉장히 많이 하겠잖아. 근데 반대로 너의 입장을 들어보고 싶어. 너가 생각할 때 이 메테오스나 스무디나 스니키는 젠슨이랑 같이 하는 거 어때?
저를 일단 편하게 플레이하게 만들어줄 수 있는 팀원들이고 한타 때 정말 믿음직스럽고 그냥 믿음직스러운 팀원이기 때문에 제가 제 플레이를 100% 보여줄 수 있던 것 같아요.
So my teammates made me very comfortable inside the game, and it's really easy to play out the game with my teammates. And I can rely on them and trust them both in team fights and in lane. So yeah, I think those are the key things to say about those guys.
I mean, the teamwork shows through all of the gameplay. My next question is what's next, immediately for Cloud9? It's no secret that you guys are about to hop on a plane today and fly to Korea for a boot camp. But this was a decision that was made either win or lose. You guys were going to go to Korea either way. So I kind of want some insight, Meteos, on that decision, to make a stab at, hey, we're going to go and practice whether or not we're playing in the World Championship or not.
Well, I actually don't think we would have went to Korea if we lost. It was the same thing as Gauntlet last year. Jack just bought the tickets in advance saying, I hope we win.
Oh, okay.
And,
all right.
Yeah, we couldn't let him down.
Well, I mean, you got to think positive, right? You wouldn't want to walk in and say, well, who knows what will happen, right? So I appreciate the candid response there. My next question is, within the actual environment of Cloud9, Meteos, you're one of the few pro players that actually does not live with the team. And I'm kind of curious about that dynamic because I think, so much of esports has evolved into this, there's team houses and you do everything together. What has it been like for you to kind of be a pro sitting on the outside of a team house, but still having to tackle the same challenges as any other organization in terms of coming together and winning as a team?
I don't think that living outside the team house has negatively affected me at all. If anything, it kind of helps me focus because when I go to the C9 house, it's just all business. We scrim. We just have to work as a team. And then afterwards, I go home, have my own place, just get a chill, stream, do whatever. So I guess it's a good way of separating like the really serious practice from the not as serious practice.
You get that moment to step back, reflect, and kind of internalize. Impact, when we look at Worlds and we look at NA as a region and how they stack up internationally, this year, we finally saw, for example, CLG do fantastically at MSI, being the second, strongest team at MSI. How do you feel North America as a region and the talent that we have here in TSM, CLG, and Cloud9 will perform at Worlds?
북미에서 세 팀이 가자. TSM, C고 CLG가. 근데 이 북미라는 지역이 이번에 MSI에서 성공을 한 것처럼 선사를 한 적이 있는데 이번에는 어떨 것 같아? 북미라는 지역이 세 팀이?
북미 팀이 팀 운영적으로도 발전 많이 했고 그리고 피지컬은 솔직히 그렇게까지 밀린다 생각 안 들어요. 그래서 충분히 경쟁할 만할 것 같아요.
So I think NA teams have improved dramatically in terms of their macro play, and in terms of mechanics, they are not that far behind either. So I think they'll do fine.
All right, my last question to you, Impact, is that as you are moving on to the World Championship to compete for North America, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything to, the fans and supporters of Cloud9 and NA as a whole before you guys make your trip there.
북미 지역 전체랑 시구 팬들, 응원해준 사람들을 위해서 마지막으로 하고 싶으면 아무거나 한마디.
답달.
Top die. I love it. All right. Meteos, anything to add there to, to the NA fans, the greater NA fans out there before Cloud9 makes their trip to Worlds?
Oh, well, I just want to say thank you to the fans because our split wasn't the cleanest. We had some rocky moments, but I feel like we've worked really hard, and there's been a lot of support behind us. It feels really good. Even when we lose, everyone's saying you'll get them next time. So just a big thank you to the fans.
All right. Well, you guys much deserved qualification for Worlds. Once again, I want to thank you, Meteos, Impact, and Robin for help on the translations and wish you the best of luck in your Worlds run. Now, as we bring our analysts back onto the desk with the NA Regional Qualifier complete, we can finalize our roster of World Championship contenders. 3 teams from each of the 5 premier regions have qualified. 2 teams from the IWC. You can see here the pools on your screen. ROX, EDG, Flash Wolves, and TSM all at the top of the pack with their first place finishes, and Splice, Cloud9 joining Pool 3 today. Worlds will start with 4 total groups, 1 team from the top and bottom pools, and 2 teams from that Pool 2. So, gentlemen, now I turn back to you. We've got our 16 teams locked in. How are you feeling about this with the seeding involved?
Spicy tournament.
Yes, Pool 2 looks crazy because, as we know, Europe lost their spot in MSI, so you see G2 in there.
Exactly.
With the other people like SKT. It's an insane looking Pool 2 when you're normally used to seeing like the very best own, like, there's so many good teams
Even
now.
Pool 3, you have Splice and Cloud9, both of which went to the finals, so technically they could be the second best team in the region, and the pool might be a label that is not necessarily indicative of the skill of these teams.
Very much so. And then you look at things like SKT being the 2 seed out of Korea, yet they lost to KT. KT loses to Samsung. And so in terms of relative power there in LCK, with those teams coming out of that region, I think it's very hard to judge exactly where everyone stands. So really, I think it's just shaping up to be an explosive group stage because it isn't necessarily so cut and dry.
Right. I mean, usually you see Pool 1 is like the clear-cut best teams in each
These
region.
guys will all go to the quarterfinals.
I mean,
that might not
it
happen.
could very well be the only Worlds that you look at and be like, this guy is a massively clear favorite in this matchup because it's such a developed style that all the regions have adopted that a lot of it came from mimicking kind of Korea, making sure that they are up to par in the actual macro. And now that the macro is kind of there, as Impact had mentioned, how do they stack up? This is kind of like the first time where we get to see these teams compete on as close of a playing field as it's ever been.
And I think the thing that people are going to get really excited about is the fact that we see a lot less lane swaps now, basically none. So you'll see these individual matchups where you get to see just how good is Impact, not how well does the team move around him. Is he a great team player? It's can he actually just stomp everyone at Worlds? Because no one seems to be putting up enough of a fight.
Well, so let me ask you this, and it's unfair of me to ask you this because we don't have evidence. But I will ask you the same question I asked Impact in that, okay, NA talent, went to MSI, put up a great showing, second. Here we're moving into more international play, obviously with no international play evidence in the last 3 months. How do you feel, objectively, from your position, how do you feel the talent in NA across TSM, CLG, and Cloud9 will stack up against?
I think at least semis. I think NA can make semis this year.
I think that's pretty safe. I haven't watched a ton of the other regions, but there's one thing that I like, and it's that they really seem to know what they want to do, like most of these top teams for NA, and I think teams like C9 that let Impact just be a monster all the time. They have these like really well-developed play styles, and it's just about how they match up.
Yeah, I feel like clarity is a good word there, where all of a sudden it feels like NA teams are operating with some sense of clarity around the map, right? We actually see conscious decisions to make rotations and create advantages, where in the past it's been very much in a reactionary style.
We're moving from a fiesta to an organized dance.
There it is. Yeah. This is a choreographed dance, no longer a clown fiesta. All right, well, with all of our Worlds teams, we'll face off starting September 29th. But first, we'll need to distribute them into groups.
They will get their chance.